Oh my God, what happened down
What is
here?
going on? This place was fine last time we left. Who's been messing with my crossbow?
My wallet's all torn up.
Who would poop in my turtle's aquarium? What is going on here?
Not the that's just...
Dan, what happened?
What happened here,
You're hiding
Dan?
your face here. What's
What
going
happened?
on?
What are you hiding?
See, guys, I tried to do us a solid.
By tearing this place apart?
Hear me out. Was not the intention. I got us a interview with Nicolas Cage for our upcoming episode. I talked to his publicist, which is actually himself. He agreed to come.
Makes sense.
Come to the
What's that
Dungeon of
smell?
Doom.
What's in the back? Oh!
It's urine.
Did he do that?
Yeah, he did a lot of crazy shit. I had to abandon the interview for my own personal safety. There is some recorded footage of it. We do have it.
Oh, good. Like some found footage?
Yeah, Nathan, you can play that for us so the guys can hear what transpired here.
An exercise in suspense. Welcome to the madness.
Exclusive.
Good evening, guys and ghouls. This is Dan, and I'm here with our first ever Mouths of Madness interview exclusive with the man, the myth, the legend, Nicolas Cage. Mr. Cage, it's an honor to have you. How are you this evening?
You know, you invited me on your show, so I'm just gonna have a blast!
Excellent. I really appreciate the energy you're bringing tonight.
Thank you.
You are a big get for our show, and me and the guys are so appreciative that you took the time to chat with us. Could you tell us about your latest project? Be happy to hear about it.
The name of the movie is Dream Scenario.
What a cool title. What are you able to tell us about it?
Mouth to dildo, dildo to ass to ass, anal beads.
Did you just say what I think you said? Did you? What? Did you just say? I'm just gonna ask you again. You know, Nick, what's the movie about?
The name of the movie is Dream Scenario.
Jesus, all right, we're fuck it. Let's just move on. Nick, tell me, what made you decide to get into acting?
Well, you know, when I was 6 years old, I used to watch the TV, you know. I used to wonder how those little guys, like me right there, how I got into the TV, how they were talking. And I tried to figure out ways of getting inside that TV set. So that was the first time I really wanted to be an actor, I think.
Nick, man, you're all right, man.
I'm such a prick!
No, dude, no, you're not a prick, man. Fuck, man. You know, I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous. This is my first big interview. Don't worry about any of this. Our editor Nathan, he'll edit all of this. He's gonna fix it up. Let's just start fresh. Let's just start over.
Good evening, guys and ghouls. This is Dan, and I'm here with our first ever Mouths of Madness interview exclusive with the man, the myth, the legend, Nicolas Cage. Mr. Cage, it's an honor to have you. What is that in your... What's that? What are you doing? What do you got? Oh.
This is my lucky crack pipe. You don't have a lucky crack pipe?
Nah, dude. I don't smoke crack.
Then, Donald, you gotta take a hit off of mine.
It's Dan, not Don, asshole. I think we're gonna have to stop this interview. This shit's going off the rails fast. Just... Who do you think you are acting like this? Really?
Nick fucking... Cage!
Me again with another one of them rocks.
Kill the recording. Kill the recording. Just kill it. End it.
Oh my God! What in the hell? Oh my goodness, that was crazy.
And you didn't smoke any crack? You didn't even smoke a little crack with Nicolas Cage?
Might have helped, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
You're right. I should have. He made it calm down.
Maybe it would have calmed the situation down, as it's notorious for doing.
It's known for being a meditation.
Well, I don't know what we're gonna do. The Dungeon of Doom's
it.
a mess. We were supposed to have a secret madness party, but that can't happen.
Maybe what we need, guys, is just a good dream sequence here.
Are you ready to explore the Nick Cage cinematic universe?
Let's explore Nick Cage the bunny, back in the box.
Did I ever tell you that this here jacket represents a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom?
Oh, no, not the beard! Not the beard!
Nick Cage, excellent. All rock on, party dudes. Welcome to the madness. We are the Mouths of Madness, your new favorite podcast for horror movie reviews. We're coming to you live tonight from kinda the Dungeon of Doom. This is our episode 25 on the 2023 Dream Scenario and our second annual Secret Madness. My name is Kevin, and let me introduce you to the other members of Madness. First, we have Dan. Dan, are you ready to enter the Nick Cage cinematic universe?
Never meet your heroes, man.
Yeah.
He went on a crack binge and
You
went
don't have a
crazy,
lucky
man.
crack bag?
I'm excited.
Woo.
I'm excited. Just never meet your heroes.
Next, we have the mayor of Halloween Town. It's Bearclaw.
Hey, everybody. My top has stopped spinning, and I believe that Nick Cage is standing in the corner over there. I don't know where we are right now, but we'll have to figure that out, where we are in Dreamland.
I see what you did there, Bearclaw.
I see.
Or do you?
I see dead people.
Finally, we have the youngest member of Madness, my son Logan. Logan, Nick Cage, it's here.
Oh, he's finally here. And I guess he kind of was here, or there's still pieces of him still here.
Ugh.
Yeah, I'm stepping in it right now. It's very gross. Ugh.
Well, I know that there are a lot of other great horror movie podcasts out there, but what separates us from the other ones is that we're going to be giving you the older versus younger generation perspective. Myself, Dan, and Bearclaw were all born in the 1980s, while my son Logan was born in the early 2000s. This is the Clash of the Generations. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Mouths of Madness on your favorite audio platform and YouTube. If you're enjoying your descent into madness, we would appreciate it if you would rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram at mouths.of.madness. We have a great YouTube podcast called Straight Jacket Talk. Please go check it out on YouTube at Mouths of Madness. Finally, we have our email address. Please email us at thepaddedroom@outlook.com and let Bearclaw know what your favorite Nicolas Cage movie is.
Yeah, we're really going into the whole Nicolas Cage universe, and specifically the Nicolas Cage horror universe, because an actor of his talent has many different sub-universes to explore, but really excited to dive into this as just the work of a prolific actor.
This is like dipping our little toe
This is like
in.
dipping our toe in. We're not even scratching the surface with this one.
Oh, I'm excited. Well, it's time to embrace the madness and let you all know what we've been up to. I actually finally just watched The Witch from Robert Eggers.
Oh,
Yeah,
finally?
The Witch. Yeah, we did it for Straight
Yeah,
Jacket
I saw that
Talk.
you guys did that. Nice.
It's been on my list for quite a long time. So
Do you want to live deliciously?
I like to live deliciously.
Yeah.
Still need to watch one more in the Robert Eggers
The Lighthouse I haven't seen.
Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent movie.
Excellent movie.
But The Witch was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought the atmosphere was great. I loved how it was like a real period piece too.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it like, because you know when we used to, because we're from the New England area, it's like all those houses and things we used to go on and tours in school and
Yes.
stuff, and you know we've all been to Salem, Massachusetts and stuff, and it all feels, that movie feels very much like the Northeast of the United States, and all the folklore and witch and just all of it.
He does it very well because like almost every single one of his movies has been like in a period piece, like almost like black and white, like with The Lighthouse, Nosferatu coming out soon. And that's that has that kind of Victorian England kind of vibe. That's very cool. There's an atmosphere about it that looks like his kind of movie.
He's got a lot of ambitious ideas.
Yeah.
For sure.
He's been holding off on it since like 2015, even before The Vavitch.
The Vavitch.
I'm excited. I'm definitely gonna check out more from Robert Eggers because I thought this was really good. And if you want to know everybody else's opinion on it on Straight Jacket Talk, please go check it out on YouTube. All right, that's it for me. How about you, Dan?
I have been diving back into some gaming. I actually been getting nostalgic in my gaming. I picked up the Castlevania collection.
Oh.
Everyone raves about Castlevania.
Yep.
Me, myself, I've never played Castlevania. So I'm starting.
There's some moments of frustration to be had.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm in the thick of it right now with the NES version of it. I think I'm on the last level. I think I am, but I'm not certain.
Who knows?
I'm
the
dying.
NES one.
I'm dying pretty bad on level 10.
Are you playing it like through an emulator where you can
No,
save
I
midway or something or anything?
Bought it on Epic Games. I have it on pause, and I just minimize my screen and then just get back to it whenever I want to.
Hardcore, huh?
Jesus.
Oh, I was gonna say I can't imagine. No.
It's like me playing Hades.
And then I picked up the Marvel vs. Capcom collection as
Wow.
well. So
Oh, very
just
nice.
a little arcade fighter gaming too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's it for me. What do you got, Bearclaw?
I haven't been watching too much or doing too much other than a lot of work, but I did take some time and I watched a couple of the Creep tapes.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
catch
Shudder,
those.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark Duplass. I think I have not seen either of the Creep movies. I guess there was 2 Creep movies, but I haven't seen any of them. But it just caught my eye when I was surfing Shudder, and I decided to start it. And I was just watching that, and I went through the first 2 of them. I mean, typically serial killer stuff isn't really my thing, but the way that this is done is exceptional. He is very awkward. He is like, the title is perfect. Like, you feel like the creepiness of the situation. You're seeing everything from the point of view of the victim, essentially. So you're seeing things unravel, and you know something. I mean, you go into the situation knowing it's not going to be right, but how the situation unravels every time is kind of horrifying and exciting. And like, he's just creepy to the max. Like, I've only been through 2 episodes of it, but I'm gonna be staying with it, and that's on Shudder. And that's just really a really interesting take on a killer, and like him like bringing people in and making them feel comfortable and then making them feel less comfortable. And yeah, it's just fantastic show. But so that's what I've been watching. And also VHS Beyond, also on Shudder.
Oh, you watched that? Yeah.
I'm only about halfway through it because it's an anthology, but it's so cool. It's so well done and put together. The Warden episode is really cool. Just a group of cops that lock and load to get rid of some cosmic horror. It's just really fantastic group of shorts. But Logan, what have you been getting into?
It's time to start a new segment here on the Mouths of Madness called the Logan's List of many shows that he watches for some reason that people recommend him that they probably shouldn't recommend him because he has little to no time. For me, this week, I had many shows that I was recommended, and I'm going to list out 2 of them. One of them was Cowboy Bebop, which is an anime.
Oh, that's a great show.
It is like,
don't watch the Netflix one, but the original one.
No.
Yeah.
I was told specifically never to watch the Netflix one, to leave that in the dark.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did because it was great. You know, I binged it in like a week. That was really good. It's not my favorite anime, but it's a really cool, like, unique idea. I don't want to spoil it too much. I don't want to give away too much. But since I had that Crunchyroll account, I've been really getting into anime again. It's really good. I'd give it probably a 4 out of 5. They have like one of the best villains in anime in that show. And then the other show I watched that was recommended that I'm still watching to this day is Arcane, which I've been told is like really good. It's based on this video game called League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
It's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. To give a little bit of a plot synopsis for people who don't know a lot about the video game is, it's about 2 sisters who basically came from nothing. They were raised in kind of the underground, the underbelly of the city. That's basically like a safe haven for like criminals, I would say. Basically, one of the sisters, the younger sister, feels betrayed by her older sister and kind of, in turn, works for the bad guys that the older sister works against. So it's kind of like throughout the years, they kind of butt heads, and it's like a really cool story that they tell. Animation is flawless. Music is really good, even though they got Imagine Dragon, which I'm not a big fan of. But the opening is so good. I love the song from it.
You ever see that Cyberpunk anime?
Yeah.
That's probably
it's very
one of my,
cyberpunk. It's very cyberpunk.
That's one of the coolest animes that's out there, if you ask me.
Yeah, I just finished Arcane season 1, 10 out of 10. It was amazing. from beginning to end, starting season 2. It just ended. Like they're done with it, so I got to finish that. But yeah, so far, it's really good.
Before we get into our review, we want to do a spoiler warning since this is a newer movie that came out in 2023. So if you haven't already, please go check this movie out and then listen to us, or
don't. To be honest with you, I think you could pretty much write this movie from the trailer, so I wouldn't worry too much about spoilers.
It's fun to listen to us no matter what, right? And if you don't care, then grab a beer, pull up a chair, hold on to your straitjacket tight, and let's dive into the madness. This is our second annual Secret Madness. At the end of our last episode, each of us picked 3 different movies. We didn't share them with each other. We wrote them down and put them in a hat. We shuffled them around, and Dan selected the movie that we're reviewing on this episode, which is Dream Scenario. That is our gift to each other and our gift to all of you. Now we would.
This was a gift. This didn't feel like a gift. This
Once again,
this felt spiteful.
Once again, I feel attached to this in a negative way.
Yeah,
it's always your fault, Dan. Bearclaw's picking next.
Well, technically, it was my pick.
It was,
but Dan did pick it out.
You guys can be buddies. You guys
I'm an accomplice to this one.
Yeah. You could have picked like Leprechaun Goes to the Hood or something else that we had.
Death Becomes Her. You could have picked any of those.
Also, because of you, our
thank you.
Dungeon of Doom got torn apart, so we couldn't throw a party here.
We should bring in Billy. Get rid of it.
Or Franklin.
No.
I
don't want
I
him
can't
dead.
throw a party with the bathroom in the state that it's currently in.
Well, we watched Dream Scenario from 2023. It was written and directed by Christopher Borgli, and this is an A24 movie, and thus is produced by the A24 king, Ari Aster.
Ari Aster.
Ari sounds cooler.
Yeah.
Ari Aster sounds like
Ari ass.
He's got a hairy ass.
Now, like we've mentioned many times, Dream Scenario stars Nicolas Cage, who was actually nominated for a Golden Globe and Critics' Choice Award for Best Actor for his role as Paul Matthews.
He was pretty good.
Dream Scenario has a budget of $10 million.
It feels like it.
Which is unconfirmed, so
Yeah.
that's what I could find online. But do you know how much it made at the box office?
I don't know. I'll kick this off. I'm gonna go $30 million.
Nicolas Cage, it's A24. I feel like it's got to be at least like.
That's why I gave it $30 million.
I didn't think it went into the actual box office. I thought it was like a Max original, but I guess it did go to the box office. I don't know. I'll go a little bit higher. I guess 60 mil.
I was thinking the same thing though, Logan. I thought this was like a release on stream.
Yeah,
only.
I thought it was a Max original, and that's why I was like.
So, 10 million. I'm gonna say
Nick Cage.
I'm gonna say 20.
Well, this did have a theatrical run, and it made $12.4 million.
Ugh.
It made it. It cleared its margin.
I
It's
went
a alleged
way
margin.
over.
Dan's the closest.
But we all went over.
How long was it in the box office?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, it had like
Probably
that
like
month.
2 weekends or something like that.
Okay.
Because that's the model. They release it. They have them in the theater for like a month, and then they release them on.
So
streaming.
if it's in like certain areas or like certain theaters, like it's on every theater worldwide, that makes sense. But if it's
Select theaters.
select theaters, if that's true, that makes a ton of sense why I made.
You know what I heard? It did good in France.
They
Yeah,
love them over there.
If
They
it could
love
do
it.
good in Canada, I guess.
Now, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, Dream Scenario has a 91% critic score and a 68% audience score. So this is certified fresh.
Wow.
I don't know that I understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand how 68 audience scores.
I don't understand the 91 critic score.
It's Nicolas Cage and it's A24.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if critics love
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage.
But it's
though.
A24.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm going to start our discussion off with my overall thoughts on Dream Scenario. First off, let's talk about this right away. I don't think this is a full-on horror movie. I would say that this is kind of a horror-adjacent movie. And actually, Wikipedia, I think, has the best description of what kind of film this is classified as a black comedy fantasy horror film. And for me, it is kind of caught in the middle of everything it wants to be. I was talking to our producer, Nathan, about Dream Scenario, and he said something that, I want to bring up. Mom, can we have Charlie Kaufman? No, we have Charlie Kaufman at home. And the Charlie Kaufman at home is Dream Scenario. And I feel like that's very true. Like, I feel like we've seen this movie done before.
With Nicolas Cage in it. Adaptation.
Yes. And it's been done better. And, I don't think that this was a bad movie. In fact, when I was first watching it, I really was captivated trying to figure out what's going on. Like, why are everybody seeing him, And then it kind of hit a lull for me because it felt like nothing was really being answered, right?
Right.
And actually, in my mind, I was thinking, wonder if this goes down the nightmare way or the sex dreams way. And they kind of hammered on both of them in kind of the last act that they did. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. But my problem with how they did it is I feel like they could have went super crazy. And it never got that way. It always was just kind of
it had its limits to what it was doing.
But it shouldn't have been limited because this should have been a limitless movie because you're talking about dreams and everything like that. Let's go big. And
I mean, this movie, I feel like it just went in. My overall opinion of it is it went in so many different directions. It tried to do a couple of different things. The problem is that there's been movies that have done what this movie was or what I assume this movie was trying to do so much better than this movie has. And to Nathan's point, Charlie Kaufman movies, most of them succeed where this fails. This is very surface level to me. Would be kind of how I felt about it. It didn't have the depth of any Charlie Kaufman work, like being John Malkovich or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I mean,
love that movie.
That's you just think of those movies and you think about how they connected with you in a meaningful way, and that's kind of the brilliance of Charlie Kaufman. But this movie, I didn't feel that connection. Like Nathan said, I think that's an incredibly astute opinion. It feels like it's kind of like a second-rate version of that. It's like a shallower version of what Charlie Kaufman was going for.
I definitely hear you. I think my big positive for this movie, personally, is Nicolas Cage. I thought Nicolas Cage was really good in this movie. Yeah. It just seemed like you have Nicolas Cage giving a great performance, but you could have had more. I don't know. I just felt incomplete.
I will say this: you, me, and our producer Nathan, we watched last week Heretic in the movie theater. And going into it, I'm like, okay, who's the big actor in the movie?
I haven't seen that
Hugh
yet.
Grant?
I want to be clear. I have not seen that yet.
Yeah, neither have I. Don't spoil any of that.
Okay, I'm not spoiling anything. I'm not spoiling
Logan.
I'm not spoiling anything, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying, is it wasn't my cup of tea. Okay. And going into it, because of Hugh Grant, I had such big, thinking that it was going to be, my kind of movie. Okay, this could be it was a very cool idea, very cool at the time. It just wasn't for me. And I think for that, it's like this movie where I'm like, I like what they're doing with this actor and making it all about him and kind of crafting this tale, but it just never goes anywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, this could have been an exceptional horror movie if they went balls to the wall, him killing people, going really crazy, having this whole big twist. Very
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And I think originally I thought that was how it was going to go. Him losing his mind, going crazy, wanting more from people, and then finally going all the way in after being thrown through this loop of just insanity. I think it should have been that kind of movie, but it just wasn't. I think there was so many moments where I'm like, this should be good. I'm enjoying it. I'm not having a bad time watching this. I just want more. There's more expectations, and I think they had the potential to be good. It just wasn't there for me, at least. It might be there for other people. You know how A24 is sometimes with their movies. They're very, thematically instead of, horrific, They don't really do a lot of horrific movies except for, I don't know. I think Talk to Me is
Hereditary was pretty horrific.
That was very horrific and traumatizing movie.
Talk to Me is pretty.
I hated Talk to Me.
Midsommar. I haven't seen Talk to Me either.
You don't like Talk to Me?
I didn't like it.
I think it was just it was a lot to watch.
There were some cool concepts to it, but
yeah,
like I didn't
It was
like
a
it as a
lot.
whole movie.
This to me is what I would say has probably been in my limited A24 experience, my one A24 miss. I feel like there wasn't any depth to it, and I feel like even towards the end it totally unraveled, because then you got into dream machines, and and there was like an online debate that I saw about, well, was the whole thing his dream, or we in? And it was like, but it doesn't matter, and I don't care. Like,
yeah,
it has no weight in the context of the film, whether he was in his dream or not.
I got a question on that in a minute. I want to get to Dan's overall thoughts, because, like, I don't think this is a bad movie. What do you think, Dan?
I don't think it's a particularly bad movie. I kind of agree with what all you guys have said in regards to, like, it's not a terribly interesting movie. It's a cool concept movie. Mm-hmm. What I think is interesting, having gone through a bunch of Nicolas Cage interviews this week, is that he has said that this is one of the 3 or 4 scripts he's read where he's felt like he did not have to do anything to adjust the character in any way, shape, or form. He absolutely loved this script. So I think it's interesting. And maybe it's because we have this mindset of we're doing a horror movie podcast. Yeah. And so this doesn't quite jive with what we do. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's also going to kind of affect how we view this movie. It certainly affected how I viewed this movie.
Yeah.
But for me, the way I look at it is in terms of framing it as a horror, I think of it as existential horror.
Yeah.
I think this movie, taps into the inner human psyche of this feeling that I think everyone universally has, of this feeling of enoughness and wanting to feel connected to people or feel important, or just they want acceptance. And I think that Cage's performance of Paul Matthews is like kind of like the archetype of that id energy of like, I want more, I want to be, I want to be, I want people to recognize me.
Why am I not being credited?
Everybody wants that. And I think for him, it's like, he's like a tragic character in himself because he's so he lacks self-awareness.
He's got a large ego. And I think that what we tap into, like, in the very beginning of it.
Yes.
Like when they're talking about the dream that the daughter has, and she's kind of just like, what, I'm just standing there?
Why am I always just standing there?
And it's so funny because it's like, well, in that situation, I was like laughing to myself, like watching it back today, like, well, what the fuck are you supposed to do when somebody just randomly lifts up in the air? And you're like, I would kind of stand there in amazement.
He thinks of himself like this archangel of like, oh, I'm going to save people and stuff like that. Like,
he's the main character.
He's got a very main character complex where he thinks he's above a lot of people.
Yeah, like Dan's saying, though, you want to be more. Like, I'm insignificant. Where's my significance? I'm not this person, but like, yeah, you are this person. Like you're this way throughout life. And we see that as the movie goes. Like he's not that guy that does confrontation well. Like we saw when he was talking to his old colleague in the restaurant.
His wife?
Yeah.
His wife with the gall to be like, I want you to record it for me. Because she knew. She knew, right? Like, no, you're not going to say that.
And then he doesn't really. When he goes to confront her, he basically is like begging with her.
I need this.
Please, Sheila, I need this.
I thought it was also funny when he's talking with his ex-girlfriend at that diner scene, and she like immediately just calls him out on it. Like, you always do that, where you kind of just like make it sound like you're better than me.
What sort of stuff do you write about?
Mostly psychology, Jungian stuff. Yeah, okay. I knew you'd scoff at that.
So dismissive of everybody.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick. Like, he is truly a dick. Like
his wife calls him, what was it? Something about him having embracing his assholeness.
Yes. Yeah. He is an asshole. Like, he definitely is.
But he has that hero complex. He doesn't see himself as that.
He sees himself like he's better than everyone else.
He's just like everyone else.
He's an average dude.
One of the things I had seen is an interview with the director and writer, and he had touched on, because they asked him about the cancel culture themes that you had mentioned, and he said, he acknowledged them, said like, yeah, like I 100% see it in this movie, but he didn't set out to make the movie about
Not about cancel culture.
But
Yeah.
what I found interesting, though, is he kind of made mention to this being an homage, in his opinion, to like a David Lynch type of movie.
Yeah.
Where he wanted more interpretation of everything. And I feel like that, doing that though, like left this movie very just with no direction. Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, and comparing it to a David Lynch movie, I mean, I don't know. If you ask me, that's a little bit like comparing a crayon drawing to like maybe the Mona Lisa. Like, I don't know,
man. These kids,
David Lynch, you know, I mean, if you look at the artistry there that went into something like Mulholland Drive or, you know, or Eraserhead, and just the intentionality of everything here, I think that's the one thing that bothers me is I think there's a lot of good pieces in this stew, but they're just pieces and there's no through line. Like, you know, when I think about movies that are very similar to this movie but are better, and surprisingly my list didn't have any Charlie Kaufman on it, but as I look at Charlie Kaufman's movie, they're also like this. Like, I think of like Brazil, I think like A Serious Man, I think Network, especially Being There. Like, yes, those had, some of those movies had big philosophies that they were trying to tout, but the movie, it's like the difference between writing a paper without a thesis statement and writing a paper with a thesis statement. All of those movies have a thesis statement that holds all the pieces together. But if you don't have a thesis statement, then you just go like, what is he saying about cancel culture? Is he saying it's good, it's bad, or innocent people being hurt by it? Or is it a way for the victims to come forward? Or is their trauma real? Yes, you can interpret it any way you want, but the movie doesn't say anything meaningful about it. Nick Cage's character is great, and I think he plays a good kind of thing for this to be thrust upon. But at the same time, does the character grow or change? I mean, a little bit, kind of, maybe, but not really.
No, not enough for you to feel satisfied.
To feel there's no satisfaction, and because that could have been a through line too, is like it teaches him like maybe we all are one, and maybe I need to lie less or like be more honest with myself.
I think it works
and
though that he doesn't. So for me, I like when movies, especially horror movies, they end with kind of like there's no satisfying ending. Not the same way. Not in the same way of like this, where it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's a very throw it away kind of ending. I'm talking more about the ending where like the main character of the story that we're watching, something really bad happens, or like something
well,
like
that's
terrible
still an
happens.
ending.
Yeah, and that could really like set emotion like this kind of like there was never going to be a happy ending. But with this, it's like, I don't know what they were going with, you know? There's no like topic or anything. And I don't think there was like any theme that they're pushing towards.
Right. Back to what you were saying, Kevin, on how this movie, I think, is up to the viewer's interpretation. And for that, like, I think to your guys, what you guys are saying, it's like the ending is, I think, also left up for interpretation. And yeah, I think I don't particularly like that myself. I really think it's a nice touching ending where like he finally can like tap into his wife's dream and fulfill that dream for her.
But it's not her dream, it's his dream.
Ooh, I did not catch that.
Because he flies away.
It's like, remember at the beginning, his daughter flies away?
He's got the device to do
he's
it.
Got, what do they call it? The Norio.
I miss that big flub detail there.
He thinks he's the hero, like at the end.
So then he didn't grow then. No.
He didn't grow at all.
That works.
Nobody changed. It's like nothing ever happened.
He lost his wife.
Oh yeah, he lost his wife.
Here's my big question, and Bearclaw touched on it. Is this all a dream?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in theory, but like somebody had mentioned, especially about lucid dreamers, right?
Yeah.
Lucid dreamers say that when they're trying to figure out if they're dreaming or not, they try to do simple functions. And in this movie, Paul Matthews tries to turn off the lights a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes he has success doing it, but like sometimes when he was sleeping in Tim Meadows' basement, the light wouldn't turn off. So it's almost like, when's he dreaming, when's he not? And I think that's also maybe left up for interpretation a little bit too.
Yeah, that is. And it was an Inception too. That's another good movie.
Yeah, Inception too.
And there was a through line to that because they had to
People
this
haven't
is
seen
basically
Inception.
This is Inception without a good plot. And I mean, like, I don't want to be too like negative on this, but what upset me is they brought something near and dear to my heart. Like, there's a book that this is all based off of by Carl Jung, which is called Man and His Symbols. And it all talks about how, like, we have a collective subconscious, which is kind of fun, right? It's fun to think about that. And it's fun to think about, like, you know, well, how did your dog know how to do the things that they were born knowing how to do? Well, there's some type of genetic memory. And Carl Jung talks about how, like, our collective subconscious might be like a type of genetic memory that we all have, like, a little piece of. And, you know, as we go through history, it kind of builds on it and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting, but I mean, this kind of jumps the shark with it and says, like, we're all actively connected and, like, and maybe, you know, depending on your belief system, maybe we are. But I mean, it's just one of those things that's kind of like, okay, and now you can travel to people's dreams and now you can advertise into people's dreams. And all of a sudden, this one guy appears in everybody else's dream. Also, I want to take a brief second here for a quick PSA. If you or any of your friends or family are experiencing dreams with any of the members of the Mouths of Madness, I'm going to need you to report that to me at thepaddedroom@outlook.com. It is super important that you do not, I repeat, do not engage with them in the dream, but really you got to email me as soon as possible. We've had a little mix up and it's not good if they're there. So email me at thepaddedroom@outlook.com.
If I'm there, I will do jack shit. I will stand around there.
Well, you know what you're talking about too. It's funny because they do mention it in a simple way. I thought was kind of, you know, really making it easier for people to grasp the idea of everyone kind of dreaming of the same thing. And they mention like seeing a meme, right? The same meme, and kind of having that as a through line of like, you know, multiple people could be dreaming about that one thing, because it is tough to understand. Why would somebody?
This goes back to Carl Jung. Why did civilizations all over the world all build pyramids?
They all have the same similarities in
similarity
their gods.
pyramids. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human. So is it weird to think that there's some type of genetic memory or some reason that we do that? Or
here's the thing too, I want to ask kind of going forward, because so people see Paul Matthews in their dreams, right? And he's really not doing much in in people's dreams.
Very inactive.
Yeah, he's inactive. I do like
Except that one girl's dream.
Oh yeah,
very
we'll
active.
get to that in a second because I want to ask on that. But I really like the one kid's dream he had, the kid in class had, where he's eating the mushrooms.
Yeah,
I thought that was a scary scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that guy's coming at him, and Paul Matthews is just walking.
It's just like,
through.
oh, look at these mushrooms. Oh.
I thought that was a cool dream. But okay, let's get to what we're gonna get to with the sex scene. So he meets the Molly, the assistant, right? And she says, you know, she's been having dreams, and he's like, oh, have I been behaving? And she's like, no, not really.
No, not really. Here's the beef I have with the sex dream. So that makes everything inconsistent then still, because like in some dreams he was doing nothing. Okay, that shows that he's an active player. After he was rageful, all of a sudden it became nightmares because of that whole intelligence thing. But what does the sexual thing mean when it's like...
I think in my mind, it's she heard a rumor of this dream, saw the picture, had a dream of him, and that's what happened.
It like took on its own.
He went viral.
Yeah.
Through the dreamscape.
It's all about how you go viral.
Is this movie about advertising?
So think of a person that you...
Sprite.
Think of like an average person, you know, like a professor or something.
Again, and I cannot emphasize this enough, if any members of the Mouths of Madness appear in your dreams holding any products whatsoever, distance yourself from those products. And also,
I just think that's kind of lame.
Email.
He's wearing a full Reebok gear. I'm just saying, like, think of a professor that you know, like I'm thinking of my professor right now. Like imagine, not in a good way, I hate this professor. Imagine them coming up to you, just walking there. Like imagine that, just like walking around doing nothing. Like just the act of it is like almost terrifying that you think of it. So even just one dream starts and maybe multiple people have that same dream because they know him. And then it kind of just starts on a wave of its own because of the viral like notion of it, that people look at the picture of the person, think about them, it's in their brain all day, and it really comes like in their dreams.
Do you actually believe people are randomly dreaming about you? You don't think it's because you're popping up all over the news and on the internet?
Well, yeah, maybe that accounts for some of it.
And then it comes into more and more and more dreams, and it becomes more and more violent, or more and more sexual, or something like that.
Yeah, see, that would make sense, but that's not the rules of the movie, though. The rules of the movie were because he got angry, then he started murdering everybody.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, why did the dreams change? Is it because he was...
I thought I noticed that the dream started to change when he took the girl up on her offer to go to the bar, and like there's that shot of the kids like recording him from the window. And so like to me it's like they caught him out with another woman, and so that went viral, and then negative perceptions started to grow, negative connotations and false assumptions started to snowball, and then people started to turn on him because at the beginning people loved him, and then like his own behavior observed is what ends up causing people to turn on him. It's very much like in social media aspects, like when people say stupid shit and then people kind of turn on him, cancel him, and don't forgive them for it.
He's kind of like a prey, kind of like hanging out, doing what they want, and then here comes this apex predator out to hunt and stalk like its own like prey because like of its vulnerability, like look at a guy.
Zebra.
Yeah,
the zebra at the beginning, like what he talked about in his lecture hall.
You see, predators need to identify their prey. They can't just attack the whole group. So if you stick your head out, you make yourself a target.
That's what it's all about. I think in my mind it's about survival of the fittest, in my mind, like because he thinks he's so high and mighty, and then here comes this whole cancel culture I wouldn't say that's like the big thing, but like this negative like wave of emotions rises above him, and he becomes more and more crazy and starts to go a little bit more insane, and it starts activating kind of this different like we kind of see him in a different way, like it from original, because like originally he was kind of just like a dick, but now he's becoming like a little bit more psychotic.
Well, see, I was thinking he's more like a part of the herd, like with the other zebras, right? And then once he sticks his head out, then all of a sudden it's like now he's being hunted by, the other animals, the other people. I thought that was a pretty big analogy from that speech at the beginning.
I think that's cool that they do that in movies, like very much like Halloween, where the teacher was talking.
Did you guys think there was any like protagonist in this movie?
The daughters.
or like somebody we're supposed to like learn something from or model? Because it just seems like stuff happens and then...
This is very much a social commentary movie. I think it's not supposed to have good guys, bad guys. It doesn't follow a basic contemporary storyline. I just think it's a movie to have discussions about.
No one's good, no one's bad.
So what's its like social commentary then?
We're all human.
And I mean, I could go through here and say, okay, well, it talks about cancel culture a little bit. It talks about the impacts of fame. It talks about, I don't know,
don't be a dick.
Being timid, but I mean, it really doesn't show that being timid is... I mean, it shows that it's being bad or by not like actively taking control. But I mean, it doesn't have the kind of, it has consequences, but I don't know. I don't know that there's enough of that message there. That's why I'm so confused why the critics love this movie so much, because I don't see the through line. There's things you can talk about, but they're all surface level and they don't dive any deeper than, cancel culture is, if being famous is difficult.
That goes back to what I was saying at the beginning too. It's like, I just feel like his idea was it's open to interpretation. It's too open to interpretation.
Exactly. Yeah, you need to like close that kind of like and make it a little bit more like plausible of like what's going on instead of just making it all like, oh yeah, it's however you see fit. Like, no, that's not what we are here for. We're here to like learn or understand or, I guess cope with the person. Not really.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, like, who's the protagonist? Who are we rooting for here? And I think we are rooting for him to maybe change who he is, but he doesn't change.
Yeah, right? I mean, he doesn't change. He's not particularly likable of a character. I mean, and in A Serious Man, they did something very, very similar, where you were very frustrated with the main character because his wife and his family was getting taken away from him and he wasn't taking action. But I mean, that was like the whole thrust of that movie was the perils of inaction and trying to be, you know, a good person and without like self-actualization. And there's a lot. That movie's pretty dense, and I recommend that movie all day. But that is almost like, I wish this movie took more from that movie and used that as a through line, but it really didn't. And then it threw Michael Cera in there as Trent, which Michael Cera did an amazing job.
I really like his character.
I liked his character and everything, but he wasn't in the movie for that long. And I think there was room for this to be, even if they didn't want to have like a big important thesis statement to the movie, I think they could have made it a lot funnier. And I think they could have, like, there were some good moments when he like farts in the sexual encounter and stuff. I think that was good. But they could have made this a seriously funny movie, and they tried to go for the deep philosophical path, but that's kind of where I think they should have maybe tried to make it a funnier movie.
I think, you know, that sex scene or the unsex scene really like was it not like one of the most awkward scenes ever?
I don't know. The burning takes my vote. The most premature. That's it.
With Glazier
glazing.
Him and Nick and Paul Matthews, they could have been. I don't know. It was just funny, man. Like, first off, it's funny that she's trying to have him reenact this scene from
what a weird
request.
Yeah,
you know, like stand in the corner.
Now, would you stand in that corner over there? Get all the way up against the wall.
No, a little bit more.
Yo, you know what? You know what's
just get back there before I can't see your face.
You know what's a really good but like scary movie? I don't think it's A24, but it's really good that just came out recently called Sanctuary. And that's very much like this. The dude is basically this big business mogul, his father's company, and basically he's all like stressed out. So he hires this woman to have sex with him. Scripted sex. They have like this big like role play thing. And it starts like diving into like all the deep shit and like starts like really unravel because she wants more. And he's like, whoa, holy shit, this is a lot more than I'm willing to do. And it just like is this. It's only the two of them. Donnelly there, she's in that. The new from The Substance.
Oh yeah.
And Christopher Abbott too. So two big new celebrities, but it's like it's basically that where it's like these two people that are kind of like they want the same thing, like because Nick Cage wants more attention. He's willing to see it through, and she wants sex.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this goes to prove the point that perception isn't always reality, right? Like your dream isn't reality. This obviously goes way different than she dreamed with him farting.
Yeah, and premature.
I laughed out loud though when he was like, and then she was like, oh.
Excuse me.
I like to how he's like commenting on the bike. It was the most awkward scene.
Oh yeah, absolute pain.
Oh god, you're just like on the edge of your seat, like oh my god.
Yeah, there was a point where I was watching that. And I'm like, dude, what is this movie turning to? And I think for me, it's just like there's so much potential. There's so much potential with this movie. You have Nick Cage.
Well, I want to get into where I thought the potential really could go is right when this happens. And I don't know if it's because of how this like sex thing it goes awry, or if it's because his former colleague publishes her thing in the magazine. And
the Intelligence or whatever.
Yeah, the Intelligence. And then all of a sudden, this is where I got re-engaged. Bam. And we get these nightmare scenes, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, like, this is where this is going to go. Like, this could be, like, the Freddy Krueger prequel.
Yeah, that
like,
could be. He could be the Freddy Krueger prequel. That would have been interesting.
He starts killing people in the dreams. And it's vicious, especially the one where he has the mallet to that one kid, too.
Yeah.
It's like,
that is a brutal kill.
And then we get to the dinner scene later, too, which I love. Nick Cage is so great in this.
I mean, Nick Cage's acting in this is second to none. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Our producer Nathan.
To add to your Freddy Krueger thing, they even play on it when they have the PR people. They're like, take pictures with the Freddy Krueger claws.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel comfortable doing that. Just do it. I think our producer Nathan touched on this when we were talking about doing this movie, watching this movie. He was like, Nicolas Cage has, like, the reason why his movies are good is because of him, and the reason they're bad is also because of him. Like, he's the reason a movie's good or bad.
Yeah.
And I think, like, that's a perfect way to put this, because this movie is good because of Nick Cage. If they had anyone else besides Nick Cage, it probably wouldn't have worked for me.
I just thought it was cool when, there was that fire and it was nighttime and he went toe to toe with that, like, the lead biker with the axe that he made.
Yeah.
That was just such a cool fight scene that they had between, where they were just like chopping at each other, and it was just, it was so, I mean, it was
I don't
just
remember
such a
that
cool,
one, Bearclaw.
Oh wait, no, I'm talking about Mandy. No, I'm sorry. I slipped through the Cage verse for a second there.
Let's pull you back in here.
I gotta.
Well, that was a scene from Mandy.
Cage leaped into another movie.
That's like at the end of the book where they would have like the other book being shown, like the prologue of the.
But Mandy was
book.
Seriously such a better movie.
Oh God,
I wish I was watching.
Well,
Mandy.
I want to get your overall opinions on Nick Cage. Like, where do you stand on Nick Cage?
I love Nick Cage.
Okay, because some people
deep love of Nick
some
Cage.
people don't like him. They think he overacts and stuff. And it might,
he's not,
and because he like accepts so many roles. Like he's always doing.
He's an actor's actor, man.
I think, were we talking about this earlier? It must have been like earlier this week. So I was saying Leonardo DiCaprio has a lot of good movies. Yeah. Mostly because he doesn't do a lot of movies anymore. He picks and chooses a lot of his movies. The last movie besides like the Killers of the Flower Moon was Hollywood there, whatever that movie was.
The Revenant?
No, it was
the Tarantino one.
Editor's note. It's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, Tarantino one.
Yeah.
And that was in 2019.
That was a good movie.
That was like 4 years in between. And then it was like a couple other big movies. Like every movie that he's done has been like very spaced out. While like a guy like Nicolas Cage does like a movie every year. He literally had a movie. He literally had a movie last year where he was like the devil driving someone around. Like that was literally like a movie that he did, and it was shit.
What I appreciate about Nicolas Cage, and I love his work too, is he's so unapologetically himself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes him. It's authentic.
You would know that.
Yeah, he's so it's just admirable. I like that. So.
All the problems with this movie are not Mr. Cage's problems.
No, not at all.
And you know what? I always love Nick Cage, no matter what the movie is, puts his full effort into it. He's never phoning in a movie.
Puts his full Nicosi in there.
I can't wait to see Weekend at Willie's or something like that, where he doesn't say a single line.
It's great. It's
That's
so
what
good.
I've heard it's fantastic. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
He makes the movie awesome, and he doesn't say a word.
Wow. That's to say something about the other actors.
To get back on this, though, I want to touch on the scene where Cera, he goes to meet Michael Cera, because I thought this was one of the best scenes of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And they're trying to, capitalize on his fame, right? And they're trying to get him into the Sprite.
commercial.
Here's somewhere cool that we thought might be a good place to start. Sprite.
Sprite.
Sprite?
Yes. They keep just hammering him with the Sprite.
And he's like trying to talk about his book, right? And they're like, oh yeah, the book on plants.
Yeah,
and he's like,
plants.
Ants.
So let's just say we go forward with your plant book.
It's about ants?
Ants.
Ants.
Oh.
Okay, great.
Plants, ants, you can tell, like, they just do such a good job of being like those type of people that it's like you can tell they're not listening, they're waiting for their turn to talk.
Can I also say that, like, while that was happening, I also didn't care what Nicolas Cage's character was saying.
I
also thought he was talking about plants as well.
I thought he should have gone with the Sprite deal. I would have jumped at the
Would have
Sprite
been like
deal.
the LeBron commercials.
The Sprite deal at a second. Again, though, folks, if a member of Madness has entered your dreams, you need to report that directly to me at thepaddedroom@outlook.com. Do not drink their Sprite.
LeBron will visit you. God, those damn LeBron Christmas commercials is Sprite.
So at the end, right, everyone stops having dreams of Nicolas Cage. Do you think it's because he finally does take action and like he shuts the door on that lady's hand?
They forgot about him.
No, because everyone's got the device now, so they don't have to dream about them. They can choose to dream about whoever they want now. They don't. So that's why everyone forgot about him is because they were able to focus on whoever they wanted. They could control their dream.
Maybe somebody wants.
Yeah, I don't know. There was never a satisfying explanation to that, but I also didn't
care.
Didn't care.
Wow.
Was there some meaning with it? I mean, let me know if I missed it. And let me know at thepaddedroom@outlook.com if I missed the meaning of why they stopped dreaming about him.
I'll email you.
It doesn't seem like he found himself. I don't know that the character went through any tremendous growth. So.
No, but that's not I don't think that's the point of the movie, though, that he went through growth. I think that's the movie's point is he's not going to. He sees himself as the hero. Yeah. He's so much. And
It's
we were
going
talking
back
about
to
this. He's
our-
Nicolas Cage.
But it's also going back to the am I enough?
Yeah.
It's coming to the realization that this is who I am, and I accept it.
He thinks that's right. He thinks he's in the right.
To your point, that's I think that might be, again, Kevin was saying, I think that's my interpretation. I think Logan has a different interpretation. And you're just like, I don't care.
And
I think, though, it doesn't matter what the interpretation
The movie
is.
doesn't make me want to care. You know, that's kind of my beef with it is it's shot well enough. The dream sequences are very well done. Like the alligators and the piano, that was very Animalia. I thought the dream sequences, the killings were really good. You know, when he was doing the nightmare and when Nicolas Cage was chasing himself down with a crossbow, I thought that was neat.
That was so cool.
So there were some neat sequences in this, but its potential and its, just like his and his kind
premature situation.
His premature situation. It kind of felt like this movie just kind of blew its load, and then everybody strapped on dream goggles and went to town.
Pun intended.
Pun intended.
Can I ask you guys something? So earlier in the movie, he gets that guy who comes in and says he has to kill him or whatever.
I want to kill you. Do something, Paul.
And nothing happens. It's almost like a Sixth Sense type of idea.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was cool.
It was a little scary. Actually, I heard that actually happened in Nick Cage in real life.
Yeah.
Where someone broke in his house.
I believe it.
But the detective is going over with Nicolas Cage what he could have done, to improve this. And he says, oh, you could have got a dog, right? And later on, when Nick Cage has his own house, there's a dog on the ground. Is that dog alive or dead? Do you remember that? It's a quick scene. But I was thinking, okay, well, he got a dog, so maybe he's changing. But then, and I watched it twice. I froze on the dog. The dog almost looks dead.
Editor's note, the dog is definitely dead.
Yeah, and there's they say there's that weird animal smell in the apartment.
I'm like, what is up with this? And then right after that, that's when the guy is in his house and he's got the sneakers on. And he's like, you should get these. And Nick Cage is going to punch him, right? And then the other guy pops in. He's like, those punches would land more with this stuff.
Please don't hit Dylan, because your punches will pack more heat with these.
Oh, okay, because it's a dream.
Yeah, it's a dream, right?
Yeah. Because he wakes up with
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so that explains it. But is the dog dead in his dream? I was like, what is... That makes sense. It's a dream.
I mean, it is a dream, so stuff like that I think flies over his head too. It's just stuff that's around.
You're right. It is a dream because then he wakes up and he's in France in the hotel and stuff. And then I thought it was fitting how he finally sees his book or a book, not the book he wanted to write, in the bookstore in France.
I wanted it to be called Dream Scenario.
Yeah.
I am your nightmare? That is not the title?
Oh. It was supposed to be Dream Scenario.
It's called I Am Your Nightmare.
Which is a way better title.
Which lends to the Freddy Glove and everything too. So I think wish they went down more of that angle where he just turn, make the full turn and he becomes this full-on nightmare man. I think it would have played out better too with that scene where you have everybody in that high school gym. They're like, he's going to step in a little bit more. And then he goes to say hi and they all freak out or whatever. I think that would have played much better if he was really this nightmare man, taking over.
Just really get in there.
There was some reason that he was the nightmare man.
Cool
he took a turn, he started hating everybody or hating fame. And, I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for what I am not. And took a turn like that and intentionally was invoking this stuff. Yeah, that would have been much cooler.
Yeah, some shadow work, as Jung would call it.
Yeah. Yep. And they could have even done that, like your shadow self. There's Carl Jung is ripe for any amount of inspiration, and when it comes to like conscious, subconscious, all of that kind of stuff. It understood the basic premise, but it didn't engage with it.
Does anyone else have anything to say before we go to hook, line, and stinker?
Yeah, email Bearclaw at the padded room and let him know.
If you see any of the members of the Madness in your dreams, this is not a drill. You need to contact me.
I feel like I'm going to see Bearclaw tonight in the corner of my room, or coming at me like the big stomps. Go to the padded room at outlook.com. Oh, man. Well, it's time for our favorite segment.
Wait, we can't broadcast into people's dreams, can we? We need to get the boys at the lab on that.
We should look into that.
Yeah, get our inventions back.
Ooh. It's time for hook, line, and stinker. Now, our hook is our favorite kill in the movie. Our line is our favorite line or quote from the movie. And our stinker is something funny, awful, or weird that happens in the movie that makes it either better or worse. Now, hook is kind of a bit subjective here because no one really does.
Everybody's
alive. You could say your dream.
I'm going to go with a dream kill here because I really, really liked the scene where Nick Cage is, or Paul Matthews is dreaming of himself, and then he's shot with an arrow, and then he's dressed as himself in camo, and he starts shooting himself with arrows, but then he's also in the movie theater watching himself die.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
I thought that was a really cool scene. It reminded me a lot of kind of where we got our name from, In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Kind of. It's where we're not lying to you. We're not sugarcoating it. We definitely did not trademark it.
Sam
Don't
Neill.
sue us.
Oh, man. My line is...
It's just really weird to see you in real life.
Oh, you've been...
Nonstop, every night. It's crazy, man.
I hope I'm behaving.
Oh, no, you're not. No, not at all.
Not at all. I thought that was pretty funny. I like how that kind of played out a little bit. It's funny because he was trying to be charismatic and flirting a little bit, but then when he kind of got the answer he was looking for, he was like,
He didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
He's the dog that caught the car and didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Like he said earlier, he can't handle the emotional burden.
And you know what? That could be kind of the theme, too, of this. It's like when you finally get what you want, it's like, wait, this isn't what I wanted.
Careful what you wish for, so to speak.
Yeah, karma's a bitch.
All that jazz.
Yeah.
My stinker is Michael Cera as Trent, and specifically the scene where Paul's like, I don't think we're on the same page here, and Michael Cera as Trent goes,
Can we start over?
That was my favorite part.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was.
Well, I thought it was uncomfortable, but I thought it was great. So
yeah,
I'm with you. I'm
so
not
painfully.
Well,
awkward.
you did say stinkers, like it can
Yeah.
either make the movie bad or good.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah.
I don't care either. I just think it was funny.
I loved like how he's turned around and his assistant is looking at Paul Matthews and they're like,
What do we do with ourselves during this time?
what's going on here?
Jesus.
Oh my God. All right, Dan, what do you have?
I don't have a kill or a hook. My line is Paul Matthews.
I don't want to be some culture war person. I don't want to be controversial.
Okay, well, yeah, this is going to go right against what you're saying right now, but there is a chance, we think, to get you on Tucker Carlson this week. So
I think it's
as controversial as it gets.
I think it's a funny line, but also it plays into like how much Paul Matthews is lacking in self-awareness. He's like, I don't want to be a culture war person and I don't want to be controversial. It's like, dude, you're already there. And that's what these people are like, no, like we're past that point. Like this is what you are now. You got to roll with it or not. Stinker, I don't know. I don't really have a stinker other than the fact that like what we've discussed, like movie isn't really doesn't have a lot of not horror and there isn't really a lot of depth to it, and I don't really get a lot out of it. It allowed me to be a little introspective on myself, but other than that, like, I don't know. Bearclaw, what do you got?
So for my hook, I too like the crossbow scene in the movie and everything like that. That was definitely that. And the runner up was the hammer one where he chases the kid down with a hammer, and just that got pretty graphic. So those are two pretty good dream kills, I guess would be the way to discuss it. And then for my line, I actually had the same line that Dan just said, but the other one is one idea we had, and this kind of reverberates throughout the movie.
One idea we had was to make Obama dream about you.
I really liked the marketing people, even though I don't think they were a good piece, but they didn't fit into the movie. But I really enjoyed them when they were on the screen. I enjoyed Mary too, as kind of like Trent would throw ideas out there and she'd kind of kick him around a little bit. And I thought that was a cool dynamic that they set up in that scene. I really like that as far as dealing with advertising folks. And then the stinker is, for me, the dream device at the end of the movie.
Through the case of Paul came one silver lining, a revolution in dream science.
Like, even though they bring in a fantastic actor, the guy from Succession who plays cousin Greg, he's like the guru who brings it in the end, and he's horribly underutilized in this because he is fantastic in Succession. I can't say enough good things about the show Succession. Watch that instead of this. But the dream device at the end, it just came out of nowhere, I feel like, and wasn't really like...
Yeah.
I get it, like the advertising in your dreams and memes. And again, it's all very surface level, though. There's no message. It just didn't play well with me. It'd be different if you like had to put one of these on every night or something like that, or like some Harrison Bergeron kind of stuff, where like you have to have your dream bracelet on when you sleep, and like, or you have to pay to have it off or something. I don't know. But it was very much like that. So I thought the dream device kind of killed a lot of the mystery of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of looked at it almost the same concept as what like Trent and that Thoughts group was doing, was just trying to capitalize on this situation and this fame, but they were doing it a little bit more kind of nefarious.
Yeah,
that's a movie I saw.
Good movie too.
And you know what though, I think for me though, it is a stinker because it ruined the flow. It just all of a sudden was like like, what is this shit? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like all of a sudden there's a funny bracelet. I mean, I bet you can get that bracelet at the A24 store, but
wow, that rhymes.
I like it.
That was pretty smart of them.
Yeah, they got the hot dog fingers from everything everywhere.
Oh, dude. That's still my favorite A24 movie. You know what? Write to Bearclaw at thepadroom@outlook.com and he'll tell me what everyone's favorite A24 movie is. Doesn't need to be horror, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is my favorite.
I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, you could argue, is as much of a horror movie as this is.
Yeah.
All right, Logan, how about you?
Hook, I didn't have anything because there's really no kills.
I like the hardliners with the hooks. Like, if nobody dies, I'm not even bringing it up. That's Dan and Logan.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's good.
Damn right.
Doesn't matter.
Rules is rules.
Doesn't matter to me. So my first line is,
do you think I could handle the emotional burden of having an affair?
And then literally like 30 minutes later, okay, let's have a recreation of a sex dream that this random girl had. Oh, yeah.
You know, he was right. He couldn't handle it. So
yeah, but it was, again, that you eat your words.
Yep.
And then the second line was,
You've been on my mind recently.
Yeah, I haven't thought about you in a while.
She's like, okay, good to know, I guess. Like, it's just the way she said it. It's just like, well, that's kind of an asshole thing to say. Like, I guess, yeah, it's fair because his wife is like right there. It's so awkward. And that's why for Stinker, one of my stinkers is that scene. It's so awkward.
Yeah,
it's like, scene. Oh my God, why are you still talking to her? Like, your wife is literally right there. And she's like, oh yeah, my therapist told me I should try to like hash things out. And it's like, you guys broke up. There's no hashing things out. It's like when I hear about people that are friends with their exes, like that's fine and dandy, but like don't be bringing up stuff that you had in your relationship and try to like bring it out because that's just gonna do worse for you.
I like to the girlfriend goes to the wife, did you like the play?
Did you like the play?
I did, yeah.
Trying to make small talk with her. What the hell?
Like, dude, it's so awkward. And then the other scene is the ejaculation scene.
Did you just come?
the premature. It's just, oh god, it's so
it's a
so weird.
I think it's kind of a stinker that she wants to be with this dude. 'Cause
Dude,
she's pretty gorgeous, and he's like,
I don't know. The heart wants what the heart wants, I guess.
Facts.
I mean, Nicolas Cage is a fine-looking gentleman. I mean, I must say.
Any honorable mentions?
Fart. I'd like to honorably mention the fart because it made me giggle.
Biologically speaking, it's actually quite.
It's fine. Relax.
It's healthy.
You know what, my
Gentlemen, I'm gonna need some research on this. Has Nicolas Cage farted on screen outside of this movie?
So are you saying that this isn't a CGI fart? This is a proper fart?
I don't think he farted in.
He's a method actor.
That's definitely an
Jared Leto would do
80-yard
something
fart,
like
but
that.
like,
Oh.
but like, is there like, you know how Psycho, that was like the first movie that had a toilet in it? This has to be the first Nicolas Cage movie that has a fart in it. Maybe,
Wow,
or is it?
What a
That's the question.
historical monument.
At the padded room at outlook.com.
Or really signing
Has Nicolas Cage farted in any other movies? I need all the sleuths out there to go and find out that for me.
It's gonna be like a list of like things where it's gonna be like, yes, I have seen you in my dream. I need help. To, yeah, Nicolas Cage fart, blah 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 blah. Like, this isn't the first time Nicolas Cage has farted. He also farted in.
Wait, we need the Reddit.
Yeah, the Redditors probably know when Nicolas Cage farted. They're into weird shit like that.
My honorable mention for stinker is when they're about to leave the bar and a guy comes into the bar dressed as Paul. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like a.
That was my hook.
Can't be
because he killed it.
We're on.
Okay, I'm at it.
We're on to our final rating.
They're gonna rate the movie. What will they rate the movie? The killer is great, the victim sucks, the survivor is in between.
What was that?
Our final rating system is Killer. It's our highest rating. It's awesome. We would highly recommend it, and it is a must watch. Survivor is our middle tier. It's a good movie we'd probably recommend and has some rewatchability. And finally, Victim. It's our lowest rating. It's a bad movie we do not recommend and no rewatchability. For me, dream scenario is a Survivor. Listen, I don't think this is a bad movie. I just think it's kind of like, I don't know. I really don't know what to feel like on this movie. I don't think it was a bad watch, but at the end of the day, like, I really don't know what I got out of this movie, like Dan said before. But I gotta say, Nick Cage really is awesome in this. He really makes this movie. It does have some laugh out loud moments, like the not sex scene and some of the other scenes. Some of the dream stuff is really good. Some of the dream kills are really good. But at the end of the day, I mean, I would say I'd recommend this to some people, but overall, it's kind of like, It's just an for me. Middle of the road.
It's a
Did you just come?
Dan, how about you?
I am going to do something unconventional. I am not giving this movie a rating.
All right.
It's not a horror movie. It doesn't fit our format. I'm not rating it. So it gets an NA for me.
First one.
A man of principles.
Yeah. I enjoy Nicolas Cage's acting in it. He's, the best part. We've touched on all that. All the social awkwardness of this movie. I would recommend it, as a one-offer. If you're curious about it and you want to check it out, great. But really it's very light on substance. It's very heady. If you got to kind of be in a mindset for that. And if it's just, I don't know, it's there.
If you could rate it as like not a horror movie, but just a movie on its own out of 5, what would you give it?
2.5.
Okay.
Seems fair.
I'd probably be right there with the 2.5 because it's not. I don't think it's a bad. I've seen things done worse,
right?
But the acting is pretty good. But is it worth your time?
Yeah.
If you were in the movie for this movie, I would say go watch A Serious Man, go watch Network, go watch Being There, go watch Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, go watch that.
Yes.
Watch all there's so many better versions of this out there. So for me, I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to anybody. It's no Being John Malkovich, which I would argue is more of a horror movie than this. I'm not going to be as hardcore about my rating of this, but I will say this, that I mean, this is a victim. I mean, if you wanted to classify this as horror, which I think there's some, you could make an argument for. If somebody was to make that argument, then I would say, as far as a horror movie goes, this is a victim. If I was to just say general movie, I might be tempted into the bottom tier of Survivor, but no more than that. I don't know that I'd recommend it, but it certainly is an essential viewing. It certainly is a victim by every definition I think I could come into.
All right, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, between the two, I think that's a fair assessment of the movie. I just didn't get a clear depiction of it, and I feel like with my second viewing, I kind of was just bored because I already knew it was going to happen, and it was just like, I was just trying to get a sense of it, a better sense of like what it was, and I just found myself very bored. It's a very good movie. It's just like, and I will say this, I did put this in the pile because I was interested in watching it. Mm-hmm. But I am not a fan of like black comedy, I just am not. I just saw horror and I was like, oh, Nicolas Cage, get us in the Nicolas Cage universe. I would have much rather watched like It Follows, which was another one of my picks.
Well, you can't go back in time.
I wish. Yeah.
Now you understand the pain of secret madness.
Yeah. It's not as bad as Better Watch Out. But it is not a horror movie, and for that, I gotta give it a victim.
Well, Nathan, our producer, also gave his rating, and he said, the concept of dream scenario is bold and unique. The execution is not. It's worth a watch for Nicolas Cage's excellent performance and some decent comedy, but it's far more bland than a dream movie starring Nicolas Cage should ever be. Survivor.
Bland is a good word to describe.
Bland is a good word. If you need to hit a Nicolas Cage, go watch Mandy. Go watch Mandy. What a movie.
Mom and Dad.
I haven't seen Mom and Dad, so I can't say it, but I mean, there's Nicolas Cage horror that's out there. Wicker Man. There's
the bees.
The bees. I will say this, and I've used this word for a lot of horror movies I've seen recently. I'm just going to say it for this. It's mid.
Very mid. Well, we also asked you, our audience, what your thoughts were on Dream Scenario. So let's check our Instagram at mouse.of.madness. First, we have one from Natalie_May_. Haven't seen it. Should I? And we got a lot of these comments.
We got a lot of these comments.
Again, I think it was in select theaters. Because if Nicolas Cage and A24 is out in many theaters worldwide, people are probably going to see it. But I think it went under the radar because of it being in, I think it was in select theaters.
We have one from Modern Monstrous, friend of the podcast. I don't know how I felt about Dream Scenario. I don't know how I expected or wanted it to end, but I'm somehow disappointed. I didn't hate it like I hated Mandy.
Wow.
Oh.
But I feel like I need more thoughts about it.
They've got my follow because of that. It takes a lot of confidence to say that. So
respect.
I don't know. That doesn't take a lot of confidence to be wrong. I mean,
wow.
Mandy's a fantastic movie.
Looks like we got some issues.
We have a comment from What Miriam Watches. Love this movie, even with the cringy moments. Ha ha ha. And they go on to say, and man, are some scenes rough. The ending is sad. Yeah, I think it kind of is. I was sad at that last line where he was like, I wish this was real. It was a little disheartening. If you care about Paul, which I don't know if you do or not.
I mean, it was kind of a happy moment for me because it meant the movie was over. And I could get back to watching the creep tapes.
We have another one from Residue Podcast. It's so good. Melanie_St. George. Oh, I totally forgot to watch that one and wanted to see it. Yeah, another we got a lot of these, so I'll skip over a couple of them.
I'm telling you, it was in select theaters. There's no way it would be this unwell known.
It's T. Ricci, very fitting since it's the official 100th movie of Nick Cage's career.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
I saw that comment and I was like, wow, it is. Happy 100.
Yeah, happy 100 to Nick Cage.
For doing 50 movies a year.
that does it for our review on Dream Scenario. Thank you all for your comments. We really love hearing everyone's thoughts on these movies. And speaking of that, we definitely want to hear your thoughts on our next movie, because we're going to be reviewing the movie Bloodbeat for our Christmas episode. So if you haven't seen it already, make sure you make it a part of your Christmas horror movie watch list and join us for our next review. But until then, back to the padded room with you.
Wow, that was a weird dream, guys.
Hey guys, I think they finally perfected this dream technology. We can finally go into people's dreams.
How's it work?
Yeah.
Are you telling me we could potentially go into Nicolas Cage's dreams?
Have you been seeing me in your dreams lately, by the way?
Gentlemen, we are going to have to journey into Nicolas Cage's dreams.
Holy shit. Hell yeah.
Make him forget about